We begin tonight with WorkCover. It's an issue set to be as divisive and explosive for the Rann government, much like work choices doomed the Howard government. Premier Mike Rann today delivered a stinging blow to Kevin Rudd's working families in South Australia, ordering Labor's caucus to support drastic cuts to injured workers' payments. As Frank Pangello reports, many families are already reeling from WorkCover's mismanagement, while unions have declared war.
From $1,650 a week to a disability pension. Thanks to WorkCover. Is this what you're trying to do to working families, Mr. Rann?
Tony Savage is a broken man.
I ended up receiving 15 major fractures through my body, from the head right down, titanium rods, broken hips, pelvis, ribs smashed, shoulder, arm. I've got 30% movement on my arm. I'm really in a lot of trouble, Frank.
But he hasn't yet lost his will to fight for what's right.
I go to claim my only once I've ever claimed in my life. WorkCover, wham, they knocked me back. Here I am, busted up, 15 bloody broken bones. And they say, no, sorry, move on, next please.
While Premier Mike Rann and his Labor mates wined and dined Adelaide's A-listers in the taxpayer-funded corporate suites at the Clipsal 500 last weekend, downcast WorkCover reject Tony Savage was worrying where the next dollar would come from just to feed his family and keep a roof over their heads.
Mike, if you want to sit in my chair, come and sit in my chair. Come and take my tablets. Yeah, you bloody come here. Oh, I'll give you some shit.
Tony twice came within a breath of losing his life after a car crash while travelling to a business meeting. For 6 months, he hasn't seen a razoo from WorkCover.
Got a letter, rejection, your claim's been rejected. That was it.
And you don't accept that at all, do you?
I don't accept it. Frank, I was so upset that I went down to Parliament House and I took some signs down there and I did a one-man silent protest just to let them know.
Honest, hard-working people like Tony stand to lose a lot more if Mike Rann manages to bulldoze changes to WorkCover laws that will strip many entitlements from workers and reduce their average income by 20% after just 13 weeks.
It could cause a lot of social problems. At a time when we're trying to get people better and back to work, it's actually very, very draconian and a nasty attack on working families.
No chance of any hardship for Mike and his parliamentary colleagues, though. Along with their legendary super pot of gold, they get 24 hours a day insurance cover for injury, and their payments aren't capped either.
What we've found is that there's been very little access by people that represent injured workers, that's the trade union movement, to the Premier. He's happy to sit down at any time with business leaders, with people that support the big end of town, but he's not happy to sit down and negotiate properly with people that represent injured workers.
Unions SA's Janet Giles is so riled by the moves that she's quit her position on the WorkCover board and is launching an all-out union war against a government whose ideologies have detoured from the working class values it once boasted.
If they're going to attack the income of ordinary working families when they happen to get injured at work, and at the same time give a windfall to big business, they've definitely lost touch with ordinary people in South Australia.
Employers tend to be treated as the customers, whereas injured workers are relegated to the status of claims. Effectively, they're dehumanised, and I think that's something which adds to the pain of being on WorkCover.
Economist and workers' compensation expert Dr Kevin Purse says the Premier's tactics are flawed and won't work.
They're quite draconian. These sort of changes aren't really necessary. We all know that WorkCover's got problems, and these problems do have to be addressed, but I think we need to look at the management and structure of the scheme. I think we need to look at improvements there rather than cutting entitlements to injured workers.
The people that I'm concerned with are those who are really genuine, and that is in fact the vast majority of people on WorkCover. They are genuine people, they have genuine injuries, and they genuinely want to get back to work.
Psychologist Dr Darryl Cross gave up in frustration trying to get a fair go for his WorkCover patients. He says Mr Rann will only end up making life more miserable for injured workers.
Families are under stress and under siege anyway, let alone having now a monetary constraint that really is quite mean.
You know what populist means, Ray? Populist means the reverse of being arrogant and out of touch.
Now you're attacking the host. That body language and that.
OK, I won't be doing that.
Yes, it's advice he might heed the next time the polls come around. As for Tony Savage, he's not going to wear being passed off as just another WorkCover statistic.
It's wrong, Mike. It's bloody wrong what you're doing to us, the workers of South Australia. We put you in power, we can take your bloody back out.
Frank Pangallo with that report. Now, it might sometimes be hard to admit, but